Okay, we're back, and if you haven't watched part 1, you probably won't know what the heck I'm talking about, so you might want to go watch that one. Otherwise, you have seen part 1. Hey, what's going on? Let's go back to talking about patterns. Why does everybody always watch part 2 and not part 1? I always notice that. My part 2s of videos always have more hits, and yet it doesn't make sense. So in rulers alone, I think I have already gone into the hundreds. Just on rulers. Just on rulers. It's ridiculous. You can make a cosplay for like $100. And I've already doubled that with rulers alone. You haven't even started making the fabric yet. You need this much money. It's ridiculous. Okay, now, pattern making also is not something that you can teach yourself. You just can't. There's a science to it. You need reading material. It's very important because there's specific things that you do and specific equations you use to figure out how to draw this thing on your paper. Because you're basically drawing your exact body. And no, it is not as easy as lying down on the floor and having somebody trace your body around you. I'm sorry, it's just not. So there's a lot of reading material that you need. Now this is the one that I learned off of. Okay, this exact book. This is the one that taught me how to make patterns. It's awesome and great. Unfortunately, it is not for sale anywhere because you can only get it at my school because our program director wrote it and did all the illustrations and everything. But really there is a buttload of stuff that is not simple in here. And really it's not something you'd be able to figure out very easily by just being like, yeah, if I cut there and then fold here and blah blah blah, like it's really difficult. You really need to be trained in it before it naturally comes to you, right? So yeah, there's a lot of reading material to know. Another book, one that you can actually buy in the stores, this one's really good. It's called Pattern Cutting for Women's Tailored Jackets, Classic and Contemporary, and it's written by Winifred Aldridge. This is actually a really good book. It's one of a series of 3. There's also menswear, and I don't know what the third one is. I think it's just regular casual women's wear. I'm not sure though. Yeah, this book you can purchase. It retails for, I don't actually know how much it retails for because it doesn't say. But yeah, this book can help you. Now this is for everything. I think it's for block and for pattern, so this is pretty good, and it's got some costume history in it too, so that's pretty neat. And although once again I am not suggesting anybody actually, you know, invests in making their own patterns, I really suggest you guys just use the patterns that are already made. You pay like $6 and you can already start sewing. With this, you're tripling your workload with pattern making. But for those of you who are serious about pattern making, this is a pretty good book. Suggest picking it up. Another really good book, and this one is like the fashion designer's Bible. If you want to work in fashion, you must have this book. It is called Pattern Making for Fashion Design. This is the 4th edition, and it's by Helen Joseph Armstrong. This book is enormous. It's got like 800 pages in it, and it is ridiculously expensive. This book right here would pay for probably 1 or 2 cosplays. Just this book alone. And don't get me wrong, it's got ridiculously good information in it, and it'll show you a jillion different styles you can make, but you've got to make all of them from scratch. And I don't know how many people out there who do this as a hobby would want to spend $1,000 on pattern making, reading, and tools when you're just doing it for fun, right? So yeah, if you're serious about pattern making, this stuff is really, really good to have. But if you just want to make stuff for fun, just use commercial patterns. All this stuff you don't need, because the commercial patterns have already taken care of everything for you. If you want to just make something a little shorter or a little bigger or a little more rounded, I mean, that's really kind of minor stuff, and it's pretty easy to pull off. So yeah, you can do that really easily. You don't have to know how to actually make patterns from scratch to do that. So yeah, this is basically just a brief thing on pattern making. And don't get me wrong, I love pattern making, but I want to do this with my life. So, you know, it makes sense for me to invest in all this. But for you guys out there, if you're not serious about doing this as a career, don't waste your time and don't waste your money. You know, just have fun, buy commercial patterns, and, you know, have a great time. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something, and I'm really glad to have talked about pattern making because I really like it and it's pretty cool stuff. But like I said, if it's not your thing, don't worry about it. Okay, so that's all for me, and thanks for watching. See you later, guys.